Yep, there it is. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order for the City of Saratoga Springs, Tuesday, May 2nd, 2017 at 7 p.m., 7:02 p.m. Roll call tonight, we have Councilman Porter, Councilman Wilden, Councilman Podeska, and Councilwoman Barch participating electronically, and myself. We do have a quorum. I've asked Councilman Podeska to lead us in our invocation and Councilman Wilden to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Heavenly Father, we're grateful for the opportunity to gather together as citizens of the great land. We ask thy Spirit to be with us as we exchange ideas and make decisions pleasing to thee and with thee. We ask thy love be a part of the community tonight and throughout this evening. Say this in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Will the audience please rise and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, she's on there. Okay, public input. Time has been set aside for the public to express ideas, concerns, and comments. Please be respectful in your comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please state your name and record for your name and address for the record. And if you're here for the public hearing, item 1, 2, or 3, adoption of the fiscal year 2017-2018 tentative budget, or the Holiday Oil Rezone General Plan Amendment, or Lexington Green Concept Plan, please save your comments for the public hearing. Is anybody here for general public input?
Hi, I'm Allie Johansson. I'm Pony Express Rodeo Queen 2017, and I would like to invite all of you to the Pony Express Rodeo on the 26th, 27th, and 29th of May. I'm looking forward to seeing all of your faces there. It'll be a really fun, awesome rodeo. We have a lot of professional cowboys and cowgirls coming to compete on those nights.
Thank you. You want? They'll take care of it. Thank you. Okay, anybody else here for public input? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public input portion. Does council have any reports? Councilwoman Barch?
Yes, I just have one. That would be that we had talked about getting tickets for the mayor's 2-hour concert as part of Splash Days. And I just wondered if we had done anything about that, if we were still going to try to do that. Usually we would hand that out at our MAG meeting this Thursday.
Annalise is here. Do you want to talk to that?
It's free, but microphone, sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm really loud. Okay. It's a
So she can hear you.
recording. It has a green light. Okay. So it's a free concert, so we don't have tickets for it, but if you want, we could create something that you could take like an invitation. Would that work?
Yeah, that would be great. Just that's something that we usually do as far as cities and reciprocal type invitations. So if we could have some kind of little invite that Mayor could hand to them this Thursday at our MAG and COG meeting.
Okay,
That'd be
I'll
perfect.
get that done.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, Councilwoman?
No, that's everything. Thank you.
Councilman Podeska?
Just like to report on the Arbor Day activities. We planted 8 trees along the canals and peach and different fruit trees as well. And great turnout by the Scouts of the Scout program, and well attended.
Councilman Wilden?
Nothing as exciting as that.
Councilman Porter?
Yeah, last week I attended the UVU Civic Innovation Summit. It was a conference to bring together small and medium-sized cities mainly across the West is who was there to talk about ways to be more efficient and have government be a little bit more efficient than it tends to be. There were some good things that I'll discuss with you guys at other times, but it's something that may be of interest in the future to other council members.
Perfect, thank you. Mark, is there anything from administration?
Not at this time, Mayor and Council. We will need closed session later this evening.
Okay, Councilman McComber is on his way. He asked that if we could start with some of the business items that are quick. He would like to be here for the public hearing. So we'll start with item 6, the splash logo discussion.
So while Ann's coming up, Mayor, Council, as you know, we're bringing a branding guide back to you at our next meeting, and as such, Ann's been working with some of the council members to get some guidance. We just wanted to kind of a head nod and make sure we're going in the right direction for the splash logo. So Kimber, if you could bring that up real quick. And Ann, do you want to talk real quick about the two options?
Yes, so if you scroll down to option 2, is that, yeah, that one. So it started out actually as this with a different color of ribbon and a black box behind it, and to me it looked like a piece of burnt toast with like a blue slab of butter. So I requested them to remove the black box, and we asked them to darken the blue ribbon to make it kind of match with our city a little bit more. But I wanted some options for our volunteers to be able to look at. And so they had this one with a lighter ribbon that was almost the same shade as the splash of water. And that one was not voted on at all. But so pretty much our volunteers voted, about half voted for this and then half voted for the other one. Can we go back to the other one? Sorry. The green and orange one. And so we decided to bring both of those to you so that you could see and kind of weigh in on it. Personally, I like the one with the blue ribbon because I think that really reflects the city. I love splash days in yellow. I think it brightens it up. I think it kind of, to me it's summer. I grew up in Southern California, and so that's summer, water and sun. And so I think it's really fun and it reflects that very well. But we would like your input and a yay or nay, so that we can move forward with this. I've got advertising waiting for a logo.
Well, I've made it a habit to not comment on the aesthetic value of a lot of developments in our city. I'm going to stick with that and defer to those who are a little bit more. I'm fine with either one, honestly. So.
Longest no comment ever.
I think you know the one I like already. I like this one. I already expressed that. I just noticed something seeing it on the screen. If we could make sure that the two words are parallel. It looks like they might be a little bit off.
The splash days.
Splash and days,
Saratoga.
they might not be on the same line. Just check that. Because see how it's a little closer, the blue is a little closer under the A than under the H.
I see what you're
So
saying.
if you can just make sure that they tweak that.
I totally can.
Thank you.
Blue one looks good to me.
Well, although the green one does remind you a little bit of the lake, I prefer the blue one at Farm.
I think the blue fits a lot better with our general marketing and the colors that we have.
Can I make my comment to say I really love the blue?
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you.
So just kind of correct that alignment a little bit, and then we can move forward. Perfect. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we're very excited. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go back to the public hearings. And tonight is the adoption. 17 budget. Resolution Resolution R17-45. Today, let the record show this is the biggest group we've ever had show up for a budget.
Mayor, City Council, I just wanted to let you all know I appreciate the time that you spent the last few weeks coming in to talk to us about the budget so we could answer any questions that you might have had. The last few months, you've been given an initial budget and not much has changed since the last time you've seen it. The only thing that has changed between last time and this time is 2 new crossing guard part-time positions were added. We confirmed the new election amount and changed that in the budget as well. And then also of a net zero exchanging part of the floater employee with seasonal and parks. And that's it. If you have any questions or...
Just a few times, any questions from our council?
I have no questions from those changes. Thank you.
We'll open this up for a public hearing. Comment on the Okay. Now I will close the public hearing. Anything from the council? Comments?
So it looks like the community is unanimous about the budget, so.
I don't think they've read the It's like over 200 pages.
Sorry, 6-year with the capital award for planning.
That's a good point. The CAFR is a recognition for the transparency and the accuracy, best practices within our budgets.
CAFR is our financial statement. The budget report is for the budget, so sorry.
Lots of awards.
Yes.
Okay, we'll do a roll call. Councilwoman Park?
We gotta make a motion.
Aye.
Sorry, no, we gotta make a motion.
I'll,
Oh,
you want me to do it? I'll move that we adopt, how do I say this? I move that we adopt the fiscal year 2017-2018 tentative budget resolution R1740-45 dated today.
I'll second that.
I have a first from Councilman Wilden, a second from Councilman McComber. Is there any further discussion from the council for the motion on the table? Okay, we'll do a roll call. Councilwoman Barch?
aye.
Councilman Podeska?
Aye.
McComber?
Aye.
Wilden?
Aye.
Porter?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. We have the Holiday Oil Rezone General Plan Amendment. Mike Wagstaff is the applicant at 3990 South Redwood Road, Ordinance 17-11.
Okay, right now the zoning map has this property designated neighborhood commercial as well as the general plan. The applicant is requesting to change both the zoning and the general plan to regional commercial to allow the construction of a Holiday Oil. There's a concept plan in the staff report. Sorry, hold on. It's frozen. Okay. Okay. This is the concept plan that's in the staff report. This was presented to the Planning Commission and a public hearing was held late 2015. Numerous residents came out that time and voiced concern, and the Planning Commission recommended against it. However, I know the applicant has been meeting with the neighborhood in hopes of seeing a different outcome, and based on those meetings, has proposed a revised concept plan. Whoops, okay. Here we go. This is the revised concept plan, and this was changed to address some of the comments the applicant had heard from the public, that the building buffer the existing homes and that the canopy be more towards the street. This is a change. There are also some changes that would be needed regarding parking and other things that are addressed in the staff report to both of these. I know that anyhow, the purpose of the meeting is for the city council to hear the request to zone change and land use, and then to give feedback on the concept plan.
Okay. Does the applicant want to add anything before?
When he's done.
Okay.
So as was stated, we would love to have this piece of property rezoned regional commercial. We know that working with the neighbors and surrounding community is the key piece in trying to come up with a win-win situation. So whatever conditional uses that, conditions that would be placed upon us, we'd be amenable to working through those as we hear the different comments tonight, and would love to have the opportunity of answering the comments that are placed tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Kimber?
And just to follow up for members of the public and for the council, kind of to make sure everyone's clear what the process is tonight and what would happen later if an approval were given. This is a rezone, which is a legislative decision, so the council, as a council, you have significant discretion in what decision that you make. You have a couple of options as well regarding the concept plan. The concept plan would not be approved tonight. It is a concept and would require quite a bit more work, and it would come back through a public hearing process through the site plan process. You have a couple of options as well. You could, if you choose to approve it, you could approve it conditional upon approval of a site plan, and then the zone would not change until a site plan that was acceptable was finalized. So that is an option, but just for the members of the public, this, if an approval is given, which again, it's significant legislative discretion for the council, if an approval is given, that's not the last chance that the public has to weigh in or that the Planning Commission and council will have to see it. There will be significant reviews beyond this point. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we have a public hearing tonight, kind of the same thing as with the public input. Please be respectful in your comments. Please avoid repetitive comments. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the public record. Councilman Wilden will keep track of time for us tonight. Anybody here for the holiday oil? I see a lot of pink stickers. Just come up to the mic and name and address.
I am Tori Dowdle. I live at 3953 Anchors Way, and my backyard is right on the border of the proposed gas station, 20 feet in elevation below where the gas station will be. And, really nervous? 3 minutes, okay. My husband and I have now lived in Saratoga Springs our entire 10 years of marriage. We bought our house on Anchors Way with the dream of living here forever. We love it. We love our home. We love Harbor Bay. We love the people, and that dream will be taken from us. We will be forced to move. And that's because nobody in this room would say they would feel okay with the gas station in their backyard for the obvious reasons of taking away the peace that we feel from the bright lights and the sounds, and the comfort from where the store will be. 10 feet away from that is where my trampoline is in the ground, on the other side of the fence. So the garbage, the smells, all of that. And then it takes it to a whole nother level when you talk about the health of my children. With all of the research that we've done, we would have no choice but to leave. But I will say this, in the last few days, we have had so many people reach out to me and my husband who thought this was a positive thing for our neighborhood, and asking sincerely how we felt about it. They have completely changed their minds, and because these are wonderful people. I know the people in this, we've lived here now the 7th longest in Harbor Bay. They are wonderful people. This is why we want to stay. They love each other, they take care of each other, and they have put their conveniences aside for the safety and health of the children. And while this will be a financial benefit to Mr. Wagstaff, the risks far outweigh that. For my family, for all the families surrounding. So we bought, anyway, I hope you will vote no for the unnecessary risk of rezoning this for a gas station.
Thank you.
Mayor, council members, appreciate you taking the time to hear us today. My name is Sean Dowdle. I'm the husband of Tori, who just spoke. We live at 3953 Anchors Way. And when initially this gas station was proposed, you know, obviously the natural things you think about are the smells, the bright lights, the noises that it's going to bring to the community. And so that was my natural first opposition to the gas station. And I still feel that way. I support everything that she just said. But as I looked into it further, I started just searching and doing some research on what are the effects of having a gas station in your backyard or in a community. And I found article after article, and I'm not just talking about Reddit posts or Facebook posts, I'm talking about scientific studies that stated that there are numerous and many health concerns with gas stations or petroleum stations within breathing distance of families and homes and neighborhoods. I'm going to read you a couple things, and bear with me for just a minute. This is from the Scientific American, and it says, despite all the modern health and safety guidelines that gas stations must follow, they still pose significant hazards to neighbors, especially children. Some of the perils include ground-level ozone caused in part by gasoline fumes, groundwater hazards from petroleum products leaking into the ground, and exposure hazards from other chemicals that might be used at the station. That's one article. The Journal of Environmental Management says some airborne organic compounds such as benzene, which is found in gasoline, and airborne easily, which increases the risk of cancer, which have been recorded as petrol stations at levels above average levels for urban areas where traffic is the primary source of emissions. So in other words, a gas station has higher chemical readouts than downtown Salt Lake City. That's what it's saying if you live nearby a gas station. Science Daily, gas stations pollute their immediate surroundings. American Journal of Public Health, 94 studies were compiled in this one. People that live in close proximity to gas stations have adverse pregnancy outcomes, childhood cancer, cardiovascular disease, respiratory disease, and the list goes on and on. National Geographic, high levels of dangerous chemicals found in air near oil and gas sites. American Cancer Society, benzene is known to cause cancer and based on evidence from studies in both people and lab animals. Benzene linked to childhood leukemia. Gas station hazards from explosions. While these hazards have been well documented nationally, the most prevalent by far is the accidental release of volatile organic compounds and nitrogen oxides. And last but certainly not least is the threat to our groundwater. Over the last few years, there have been documented over 130,000 leaks in underground storage tanks and gas stations. And then in this study, it says that even a pinprick in a gas station, an underground, I'm almost done, storage tank, will leach over 400 gallons of gasoline into the soil each year. Running right underneath that property is a natural spring that feeds into the Utah Lake. That not only affects the people that are directly behind it and our groundwater, but also Utah Lake, which already needs some help. Thank you very much. I hope you vote against the gas station.
Mayor, council members, my name is Mike Bagley. I live at 71 East Turnbuckle Road in Harbor Bay. And as it was proposed earlier via Sean's comments and Dowd's comments, just based off of that, I don't see how there's a win-win in this for any of us that live in that community. And in an effort not to be redundant and not to speak based off of emotion, I decided to take the approach of looking at this just from a financial perspective and how would this affect any of us in the community that live in that surrounding, or how would this affect you in your community. And I found one thing that was kind of interesting that I'd like to share today, and I can leave you with the documents if you'd like. But in looking up under how we qualify for a home loan, how do we get a home loan? What are things that would prevent us from getting a home loan? One of the things that I found on the HUD page under FHA says that if the subject property line is within 300 feet of an above-ground or subsurface stationary storage tank with the capacity of 1,000 gallons or more of flammable or explosive materials, then the property is ineligible for FHA insurance. So then to further understand that, I called Lending Tree and many other lenders. What does this mean? What would you do? What would I do if I needed an FHA home, a loan to get a home in this community? What would happen? They say, you're on your own. We're not going to lend. Essentially, the government says it's too risky for us to put our money in an FHA loan within 300 feet or 100 yards of football stadium circumference of that home. or that gas station. So today I went and I got a rangefinder and I stood at many different points of the field of this lot where this proposed rezone takes place. And I walked all four corners and stood in the middle, and I have a map and I have it documented. And within 100 yards of that gas station, there's 28 homes that would be affected potentially by someone that's wanting to get a home loan. So FHA loans, that doesn't take up every house that's bought. That's not all home loans. That's not 100% of the population. But according to the latest records that were posted in reports from the FHA on the HUD website, it's between 18 and 22% depending on different metrics. So roughly 20% of home loans in the U.S. are from FHA. I then thought, well, what about my neighborhood? How many people in my neighborhood have an FHA home? And as I talked to real estate agents that almost exclusively represent our neighborhood, their opinion is, and again, this isn't fact, but their opinion is 1 in 3. So again, now we're looking at closer to 30%. So already, just by those 28 people that own a lot or a home within 100 yards or 300 feet of that proposed gas station, we're looking at a decreased opportunity in selling our home, not just because there's a gas station back there, but because certain loans won't even be granted because there's a gas station back there. Then on top of that, as I called many different appraisers and asked them what they would do and how this would affect an appraisal, they talked about how that they can't say it's going to affect you by 10% or 20%, but they can definitely promise you that having a gas station in that close proximity to your home is going to affect the value of that home and what they're going to appraise it for, which again is affecting money directly in my pocket. Now, if I'm Mr. Wagstaff and Holiday Oil, I would love to buy that lot because I can buy it for a lot less money than the other lots up the street that have already been zoned for that exact purpose. And so why would we as a community, when there isn't even a need for a gas station in my neighborhood in Harbor Bay, the furthest south point in the community that has the smallest number of residents right now, when a mile or two up the road, Maverick has already been approved for a gas station, it's already underway, they're going to beat Holiday to the punch and be there. That's going to meet any need that we have. That's going to meet any convenience that I might like in having a gas station in the area. Why would we vote to change the zoning on something that was already zoned for different reasons and purposes when we have ample opportunity just up the road from us in Harbor Bay? It's not a win-win opportunity for us. And my time's up. So again, I would just plead with you that you'd vote no as the planning committee did, a year and a half ago on this. Thank you.
Excuse me real quickly, Mayor and Council, just so you're aware, we had a lot of people lined up here. We've turned on the TV out in the foyer, as well as we've moved some people into the conference room. So as we get into the latter part of the hearing, there is a little bit of a tape delay, broadcast delay on YouTube, like 30 seconds. So when we get to that point in the public hearing, we'll go out and invite people that still would like to speak to come in so that they've got ample opportunity to address this issue.
My name is Brian McGilligot. My address is 3961 Anchors Way. My property is right behind the proposed gas station. My concern is simply for my family, and my primary concern is having something that has gas and toxic materials in my backyard, and it's just that simple for me.
Mayor, Councilman, my name is Ron Johnston. I live at 3941 South Anchors Way. I sent each of you an email yesterday that you received and explained in 10 items. That was from last year, but then in an additional comment prior, explaining my reasons why. Many of those have been covered tonight. The one thing that I wanted to focus on is we have a son. His name is Ronald. He's 29 years old. Excuse me. He's 29 years old, and he was born with a heart defect. And he has struggled his whole life with his health. He's had many operations. They've told us over the years that any gasoline, that we need to stay away from those sort of circumstances. It would indeed force us to probably move too. Another thing that real estate values would definitely go down. Might have addressed that earlier, but certainly we don't want to lose value in our homes. I think what it comes down to is that the convenience factor for those that want the gas station and the convenience store, they're not really thinking compassionately with their hearts toward the rest of us that are impacted in every way if this were to pass. So I would ask you to put yourself in our position. Imagine that in your backyard. I don't think anyone in this room would very much want that for themselves or their family. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Caitlin O'Malley. We are on Turnbuckle, 3942. I will be Dahlstrom, the homeowner. We'll be getting married in December. What I'm here, I guess, to talk about today is in regards to compliance and how that's going to be handled. I actually have come to understand that there is a Murphy oil on Redwood that's not in compliance right now. And I would like to, I guess, understand a little bit in regards to compliance and how that's going to affect us if we're already having problems up Redwood. My son actually has autism, and it's a neurological issue as well as a psychological issue. And unfortunately for my child and surrounding children, part of that is that he really struggles with neurotoxins. If we replace our carpet, he's home from school for a month and a half. And unfortunately, there are things that go along with gas stations that are not in compliance all the time, or that fall out of compliance day to day, that will send, I can see, actually, I should say that I can see the lot from my front steps to my house on my porch, which would put me in direct shot of those toxins. My son's bedroom is at the front of our house, and it's literally terrifying for me to think about him having any form of regression, and it would be detrimental to our family. I actually went to a couple of locations for the holiday oil in Pioneer Crossing, and I took pictures of their property and how they take care of it, and how in compliance they are, and it's absolutely littered with trash. And I know a lot of people in our neighborhood think that this is a good idea to bring this into our HOA, but we have homes that are upwards of $500,000, $600,000 in some cases, especially in Pelican on the lake. Beautiful homes. And we have garbage littered everywhere, and fences, stone walls and fences that are falling down. And I just feel that that would probably bring down the value of my home. I also have a picture of what the view would be like for my beautiful neighbors. A giant red clown roof. And I understand that some people might not have a problem with that, but when you buy out by us in Harbor Bay and you have a wonderful marina and you've got this beautiful landscape to look at, the last thing you want to see is a giant red roof overreaching what you're looking at. I recently spoke with a friend of mine that was currently working at a realtor's office. She was sitting with 3 of her realtor friends, and I posed the question to her, is this going to bring down my home value? And it was a consensus amongst the 3 of them that it absolutely would. We just refinanced our home, to pay for a wedding and to relieve some of the stress of just peering our home when we moved in. Unfortunately, if we had to move, that would be a huge loss to us. It would be pretty tragic for our family. This is a picture of a home in our area, and here is a picture of our neighborhood and what most of us would like to keep instead of a gas station. And that's all I have to say. I truly hope that you will vote no on this. Thank you.
Hello, Mayor, Council. My name is Matt Pease. I live at 3969 Anchors Way, right along with most of these folks over here. We would be directly behind this gas station. I can tell you we've been there for 8 years now. When we originally bought the home, we had talked to our realtor and had some questions about the vacant lot behind us and, what the possibilities were, reassuring us the zoning that was on it at that point and currently is on it wouldn't allow for a gas station. Specific questions were asked about something like that, and I know a lot has been said, and very much my same concerns. I just feel that we don't need to oversaturate our city with these gas stations. I mean, there's another one approved for right there by Pony Express, just even up the road of what Mr. Bagley had mentioned as well. The names that directly affect this, the Bagleys, myself and my wife, my 2 kids, the McElliots, the Dowdles, the Johnsons, the Hales, the Heights, the Hendricks, Hardings, the Chessmans, Morris, Neals, and Frank Holmes are just a few of the names that this is going to drastically affect. My son also has a bedroom that would face this, and to not have him be able to have that fresh air breeze out through his window would be a huge concern as well for myself and my wife. So strongly encourage you to please vote no for this. Thank you.
Name's Eric Johnson, 52 Beacon Drive. I'm actually for this gas station. I think it'll be quite convenient to have and be a great asset for the neighborhood. I actually work in the oil and gas industry. I know there are a lot of rules and regulations gas stations have to follow. They're quite safe. I know when you go get gas, you don't smell gas unless you're actually at the pump. You get 10 feet away from it, you can't smell it anymore. Gas pumps have to be inspected, so do the tanks. Just like the natural gas line we have running right down Redwood Road. High pressure, 1200 PSI. So I vote yes, and I hope you do so.
Nate Andrus. I actually live in Pelican Bay. This is my first time ever talking in a council meeting, so go me. But I'm actually in favor of the gas station. We've lived actually in Pelican Bay for 2.5 years. We do love it out there. I'm in favor of the gas station. I do realize there are concerns, and they are valid. I also know that with the gas station, that they have severe regulations they have to go through to ensure safety. I also know that there are several gas stations nearby in our ranches, that are also very enclosed by homes, nearby homes, condos, townhomes. And I also feel that if the health concerns for that gas station were as severe and dire as have been explained, then no gas station would ever be approved. I am also in favor of this gas station, as I know the growth is continuing to go out our way. The nearest gas station from our development is nearly 8 miles away. It will be 7 miles away once the gas stations are approved near Pony Express. I can't tell you how many times I've driven up and down Redwood Road, with a 30-mile round trip, to be able to get one thing that I forgot at the store, or to get gas because I'm out of gas on my lawnmower, or because I simply got out to my home and could not, and forgot that I was on empty. I even at one point put my lawnmower gas in my car so I can get back to town on prayers and fumes to get more gas. I also know that there are, again, safety things that are put into place. Growth is coming out to our way anyway. It will happen. There will be increased traffic on that road. I also feel that with the gas station at this access point, that less traffic will be on Redwood Road between us and others, as more of us are not having to go all the way to town to reach the things that we need. I've also looked at Zillow for a real estate question on the topic that came up as far as value. The exact question came up on Zillow, and one particular, wasn't a very long thread, but one particular person said there were no conclusive studies done that actually said that they were statistically bringing home values down. In fact, I speak with a brother-in-law who lives in Eagle Mountain who also has a gas station next to his home, and that actually increased their value as more people came out because there was now access to that amenity out there. So I strongly encourage to vote yes on this gas station along Redwood Road down near Pelican Bay. Thanks.
Hi, my name's Lee Pease, and I live at 3969 South Anchors Way, directly behind the gas station. And the only thing I have to say is I have a 2- and 4-year-olds, and everyone wants the gas station for convenience and Diet Coke and stuff, but at the end of the day, do you want your 2- and 4-year-old playing just one fence line over from a gas station where it's bringing in a whole bunch of different people that don't live in the neighborhood, unnecessary stops by trucks? You just have to think about that. Like, how would your neighbor feel if it was you, your 2- and 4-year-old? Thank you.
My name is Chris Dahlstrom. I live at 3942 South Turnbuckle Road. Despite the studies of what Zillow has said and things like that, I would ask yourself, if you had the choice to live right next door to a gas station or not, what would you choose? I would say that 100% of the time you're going to choose not to live right next door to one. With that being said, it will drive the price down. It will financially affect these people. Vote no for the change. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, and members of the City Council, thank you for hearing our comments this evening. My name is Frank Morgan. I live at 182 Sandpiper in Pelican Bay, and I'm here in support of those homes which are within the area of this gas station that would be financially and adversely affected by its being granted a zoning change. The existing zoning allows for convenience stores, doctor's offices, all kinds of light commercial stuff, which is why we bought our lot where we bought it. And I would be very disappointed if the City Council decided to change it because we want to have a gas station there now, which breaks that code and doesn't comply with it. On the city website, I noticed that the old gas station with the car wash is still on the file. what is the true intent? If it's still on file, is it going to be then modified now from what we have now being submitted? Skip a couple other issues in the interest of time. The ordinance, City Ordinance 0409.5 requires that this zone include trails, seating, and lighting for the public. I don't see any of that on their map. I see pumps and a building and a wall. I've been to gas stations a few times myself, as well as I'm sure all of you have, and that is not in compliance with the existing code, the zoning, excuse me, and should be considered. Lastly, I'd like to review a couple of points from the EPA regarding gas stations in subdivisions or around homes. 617,000 federally regulated active tanks are located in an estimated 233,000 gas stations in this country right now. Activity report indicates that more than 1,700,000 tanks in the United States have been closed over the last 25 years. So you have to understand the history. But of those, 482,000 are leaking right now, and that's a big risk. Now we use fiberglass. Now we use special piping. But the major leak in the closing paragraph says, overfills during product delivery and leaks from piping connecting underground storage tanks to the dispenser pumps have caused significant subsurface and groundwater contamination. In fact, dispenser pump islands are often the more significant source of contamination than the underground storage tanks. So I think it's important we realize these people who have come here, who I am siding with, if that's what I'm doing, have a real serious concern regarding changing the zoning to allow this gas station, and I implore you to not change the zone. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor and Council, the last thing I want to do is cause division in our beautiful neighborhood or contention. I love my neighborhood and I love my neighbors. So with that being said, I am against the gas station being built in my backyard. I live at 3941 South Anchors Way, and it will be 10 feet from my fence. My husband mentioned our son. He's very ill, and since I last spoke a year and a half ago, he's became worse. I don't believe in kicking a child when he's already down. He's had 4 heart surgeries and needs 3 more. He has severe depression and anxiety, and I can tell you over this last week, I've given that child more anxiety medication than he's ever been given. This has turned our life and our family upside down. I have a husband that sleeps during the day, and the noise and the congestion that that's going to bring is severely going to affect his sleep, and he works at Kennecott, where he trains all those people on those big Mack trucks. I have asthma. It's going to severely affect me. I am pleading with you not to build that gas station. Thank you very much. I apologize. Shelley Johnston.
I'm Jacob, and I live on Flagship Drive. I feel like the talks that I've heard, that I want it, the gas station, but I don't. Just is worried about other people, but I just want to close a gas station.
to maybe free up a seat in another room, that would be great, but I'll go take care of that.
My name is Paul Paystrip. I live on Clipper, just around the corner from the proposed site. I'm neither strongly opposed or strongly in favor of this, other than the fact that the piece of property as existing is an eyesore. It is a weed patch, and we grow some very big tumbleweeds. And my front door is right to where, as soon as I get a windstorm, I have to go get my pitchfork out to clean up all the weeds that are there. I can't even get in and out of my home. Okay, but I think under the existing zoning regulations, I don't think we can ever have anything come in there except a park. Nobody could get financing to put some kind of a business under the restrictions that are there now. So I am in favor of rezoning it, not necessarily for the gas station, but to be able to allow something to come in there to maintain that property so that we don't have that eyesore and the nuisance that is there now and the detriment that it creates for the entire neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Mayor, council members. My name is Scott Wyatt. I live at 3798 Spinnaker Bay Drive. Initially, I came here I was in favor of a gas station for a couple reasons. One, we have nothing out there. It's a complete pain anytime you need anything to have to drive all the way into town. I understand that. Some people like that convenience. When I have to take multiple trips every day for different reasons, it does become a nuisance. So my initial thought was that would be a great place to have a gas station, convenience store, anything that would help solve some of those little problems. I do love my neighbors, most of you. And Tori, I'm really glad to hear that you had a great experience where people came and talked to you. I had an opposite experience. By stating yes that you wanted something, I had my name slung through the mud by someone who's wearing a big, bright, pink piece of paper, spewed lies, everything else, just because they wanted their voice to be heard. Well, I don't think that's how our neighborhood is, and I personally don't appreciate it. Having said that, the voices that have spoken today are from some people that I really care about, and it hits my heart that, they're in that situation, and maybe the gas station isn't the best option. I see this new proposal. I think the old proposal was less intrusive. I think there were less homes affected by a building that is directly next to homes. The last plan, there was a car wash that affected 2 homes, from what I saw. And all the rest of the homes that headed north and south was open area. So I know the fight was to not have a gas station. I know there was an approach to get rid of the car wash to make it more of a, to basically settle, and hopefully the car wash was the issue. I don't know if that's the issue. I think the issue is the building that's going to be there. That lot's an eyesore. We, as people who live in that area, need something that's closer. Whether something is going to be built or not, I don't know, and I don't think a gas station 1 mile closer is the answer. So I guess my plea here is, as council members, if this is not the place, please push to get something closer. And that's what I have to say. Thanks.
Tracy Messbach. I live at 83 East Turnbuckle Road. Very close to a lot of people you've heard from today. And I actually have a very opposite opinion. I am in favor of something going in there. That lot is zoned for something, as many people have said, to go in. So if it's a convenience store, a restaurant, a gas station, a coffee shop, a building is going in that area with parking, with lights, signs. So at the end of the day, there might be health concerns, but Holiday will have many locations, so I would assume safety, health, those things have been addressed. And if they haven't, they probably have remedies. I don't think they'd put a gas station into and endanger a bunch of people. So that's my opinion on the safety thing. I also have children. I have 3 of them. My backyard is very close to that area, and so I'd be able to see it. I guess the thing that's most appealing for me is Mike Wagstaff is willing to work with us on the layout, the look and the feel, the situation of the gas station, the lights, the delivery schedule, you name it, he's been super accommodating around those aspects. You get a McDonald's in there, it's a franchise, they're gonna do what they want. You put in anything else, a yoga studio, it's gonna go out of business, a bait and tackle shop, it's not gonna do good. So at the end of the day, I think it benefits everybody from a convenience factor, but it also makes sense from a business standpoint. Gas, convenience, it's all there. So at the end of the day, I am in favor of it. I don't have any factual data that supports it. I just think it's great he's willing to work with us on it.
My name is Ryan Fulmer. I live right on Harbor Parkway there. I'm against the gas station for numerous reasons that people have presented. One of them, safety concerns. We already worry about the health issues, things like that. But what about the people on the west side of Redwood Road? What's the city going to do about that? Think about all the kids crossing that street. There's already so many accidents, traffic going through there. What's going to happen? We're going to build a bridge for those kids? What's going to happen when your kids go to that gas station? People are pulling out boats and trailers. How soon before something happens? I mean, seriously, really, let's think about that. But kids are the bigger picture here. Well, because of the convenience of getting a COLA. We all moved out there knowing it's zoned commercial, but you want to go rezone it? Let me go buy a house next to one of yours. I'll tear it down and I'll try and get it rezoned. Same thing. How would you feel? You wouldn't like it. Gas stations aren't fail-proof. Very few profits, revenue are generated from gasoline. They generate from what's inside the store. Look it up. It's a fact. I trade oil. I'm a commodities trader. I know what it does. From the very beginning to the very end. We're on the very end of town. Yeah, we have the marina. It's seasonal. When was the last time we saw a boat in there? 4 years? Is our community and neighborhood going to keep that gas station profitable? No. The convenience store maybe, but what happens when that gasoline becomes a liability? It's no longer generating any revenue. You can shut it down. Currently, there are 50 gas stations, more than 50 gas stations in Utah County alone that are up for sale. Why do you think that is? Some of them are active, some of them are out of business because they're not profitable. What happens when they do put in a Maverick down the road, wherever that may be? I've heard that this gas station is either going to be a Holiday or a Chevron. Chevron's got great gas. I don't care to buy a 30% more premium on my gasoline. I'll continue to buy Costco and Smith's. I won't buy Maverick. I don't care for their gas. But where do you think people are going to go? I know somebody that runs a gas station. It was, the gas station got bought out by another because they wanted to sell because a Maverick was going right across the street. So they sold it, they turned that other gas station into a Chevron. What do you think that Chevron's doing, trying to sell their gas station now? Because everybody's going to Maverick. That's just the bottom line. That's all I have to say.
I'm Ben Ashby, live at 3972 Lake Mountain Drive. I'm one of the ones on the west side of the road from where that would be. And the reality of what it draws and the desire for people to have that convenience, I think a bridge would be the only solution for the children to get to it because they're going to want to be there. Has that been a consideration? The safety concerns for all the people that are nearby, we could repeat all that again. My master bedroom, as I look out my window, I look right down Harbor Parkway, right to that intersection. Did I know something could be built there? Yes. Do I want something that's going to draw traffic 24/7? Definitely not. I would urge that all the points of view be deeply considered. I personally am strongly against it. share that with you.
Hi, my name's Amberly Fulmer, and I live on 107 Harbor Parkway, which is, my husband just spoke. I don't know if anybody's really talked about the traffic. Getting out of Harbor Parkway can kind of be a pain. We can't even get a speed bump. I've called the city every year to get a speed bump for our Harbor Parkway so that people will slow down going down to the marina. My point in this gas station is that if you are on a holiday weekend trying to get out of Harbor Parkway, people are coming from the south, from the sand dunes, going 60 miles an hour because that's where it stops to go to 45. I just feel like things need to be fixed there first before we put in something where people are trying to pull in and pull out of this gas station. The road right there is just a complete nightmare, and it's unsafe. So that's all I have to say.
Hi, Karen McElligott. I live at 3961 Anchors Way. So my backyard is right where it would be. Today, I went over to the Holiday that's on Pioneer Crossing, and it's a fairly new station. And I tried to talk to the lady that lived right next to it, just to kind of see what their experience had been, but they weren't home. But I did go I trespassed and stood in her backyard to see. I know, I should have said that. I have pictures too, if you want to see, but I went to, and I was open just to hear about her experience, just to see what it was like. And I did go stand by, in her backyard, and it was noisy. It did smell. The fence was broken. We have some pictures of that too, and there was garbage everywhere. And that's a fairly new station, and it was pretty. It wasn't kept up nicely. And then for all of the other reasons, I know that when there was construction behind our house several months ago, I think it was the park across the street, across Redwood, and then recently on Harbor Parkway, there's been a lot of construction. It is lights and very noisy. It feels like it's in my backyard. So the noise pollution is of concern, and just all of the things that Sean said about the safety, I echo. I mean, we have children, and I would just hope that our neighbors would back us up on this, because I would back them up if it was their backyard, and I think it's going to affect our whole community. Thank you. I would oppose the gas station if you didn't get that.
Hi, my name is Patricia Wyatt. I live at 3798 South Spinnaker Bay. Well, initially I have been very much in favor of this gas station. The pleas of my neighbors do not fall on deaf ears in our household, and people have spoke a lot about health issues and about the health of their children and the fears that they have about spills. And while these concerns also fall in my lap as well, because I am a resident there, there are also some of our neighbors, and myself included, who have health issues that were not necessarily there when we moved that far away from conveniences. And it would be nice for some of us to be able to not have things so far away when some of us can't necessarily get where we need to go the way that we used to. Well, I believe, after having purchased 14 homes and sold 14 homes, in my experience, bringing amenities closer does not decrease property values. In fact, it increases property values. Most people do not want to live 20 to 25 minutes away from conveniences. While I realize it's only 8 miles, if anyone has driven in the traffic where we live, it is not 8 minutes. I love my neighbors, and I love the people who I share my neighborhood with. We have had some rather bitter experiences as of the last couple of days because we voiced our opinion. But that will not deter me from standing here today and asking the city council that if this area is not the right place, in your opinion, I do believe that something needs to be addressed out in that area. It is too far to get to local conveniences. There are lots of people that are affected by that, and while I love my neighbors, I would like to see something closer, and I do believe that having those conveniences closer to the marina increases our property value because, let's face it, a lot of us moved out there for the marina. And granted, the water levels have been low. I do believe they'll go up this year. But when you want to go get gas for your boat and you have to go 20 minutes to town and 20 minutes back every time you need to fill up, it makes a whole lot of your morning not on the lake. And if you've ever been out there when it is crowded, if you don't get there first thing, you're waiting on the road with everyone else trying to get into the marina. So I do love my neighbors, and I do appreciate their concerns, and I share those concerns. But if we could get someplace closer, I'd certainly appreciate that. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm short. My name's Joelle Caracas, and I actually do live on the west side of Redwood Road. And I'm kind of on the fence on as far as having it or not having it, but my concern as well is we are developing as far as Saratoga Springs. The traffic is getting worse, and I've only heard about 2-lane roads coming up to the elementary school. If we do have a gas station or something, my concern is, are we going to be widening that road? Because we do have I'm drawing a blank right now, the semis and stuff already coming through those roads, and our roads aren't that great with all the constructions, the homes being built, the 2-lane roads. I work in Salt Lake City, so my concern is if we are going to have this convenience, and I do want a convenience, I do want something closer with health issues. If you have a child and they're sick, do you really want to have to drive 20 minutes to get something for your child when you can just get it around the corner? And I understand all that. But there has to be a balance too. We do need something, but also are the roads going to be widened because it is going to cause more traffic? And I live at 148 Aruba Drive.
Yeah, good evening, guys. I'm Brad Farrell, I live at 4124 Captain Street. When I came to this meeting, I was 100% in favor of a gas station. But listening to the neighbors and their concerns, I'm opposed. One thing that we have to look at, you know, with that coming in that way and on a busy road that's 45 miles an hour, which most people drive 50, 55, which is a concern. There's no decel and XL lane coming out of there. You know, the one coming onto Redwood, how are trucks going to decelerate? Or how, you know, you're going to have all kinds of trucks coming in there. From Geneva Rock to concrete trucks. There's no XL lane set for it. There's nothing in UDOT's, you know, what they're doing. They just bid a job there and going down south, that's just a 2-lane overlay. And I know they're going to bid it again. You know, we're going to have a 2-lane both ways coming soon. I think that's going to bid in May, somewhere in there. So it's coming. You know, the traffic congestion is going to be lightened. We're going to have to go through a whole summer of construction getting to our houses. But, yeah, to my neighbors that have complained bitterly, and I think sorry, Mike, I was for you, but I'm not for you anymore. I got to listen to my neighbors, you know. You got to stand behind them. I had to put myself in their shoes. If my house is there, I don't want it. A convenience store, you know, something might come one day. But it wasn't zoned that way when they bought their house. And they shouldn't be imposed upon to have a gas station put right behind their houses. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Marcy Harrell. I live on 102 East Beacon Drive. We just moved there this summer. I'm opposed to the gas station. I really never thought much about it until I started listening to some of my friends. And so I started thinking about it tonight as I was hearing all the health issues, which, number one, that's my biggest concern. Number two, property value. I don't know how long I'll be in Saratoga Springs. I don't want my house and my value to go down. Number three, I don't want it to be a hangout for my kids. I have a lot of teenagers. I don't want them just sitting there spending all their money on junk food and candy. That was my main concern until I started hearing about all the health issues. So I'm opposed to it. I want to support my friends. Thank you.
Rod Eichelberger, 3901 Panorama Drive. I think this meeting shows one thing, is neighborhood commercial is difficult. I think rezone is going to happen to that lot. I mean, just as feedback, whether you decide regional commercial, I think there's very valid health concerns about a gas station, or if there's some way to use that residentially. But if you look at the permitted or conditional uses for neighborhood commercial, none of those make sense for this lot, this far out, for years to come. They just do not make sense. There's nothing in that permitted list that's gonna drive customers. If I'm the landowner of that piece of land, I'd be so frustrated with it being neighborhood commercial. Whatever you do tonight, you need to consider what the end state of that lot zoning is gonna be, period. And they're right, it's an eyesore. It is a weed heaven there, it's awful. And if it doesn't get rezoned, you leave it neighborhood commercial, just understand it's gonna sit that way 10 to 15 years unless somebody really wants to put a doctor's office out there, which doesn't make sense, or a preschool or some of those other listed, permitted, or conditionally permitted uses. And if you're gonna leave it neighborhood commercial, then have a plan for dealing with weed control and the way that lot looks. It's very bad. So whatever you do tonight, this lot does need a rezone. Whether it's regional, some form of residential that makes sense, I don't know. A gas station, I'm 50-50. I really feel for the health concerns, so I would definitely weigh that in there versus my convenience for a Coke or Dr. Pepper, you know, whatever. But neighborhood commercial as a zoning, even look, it's very spare in the city, and I think there's a reason why. And it makes no sense for where this lot is located in the city that any of those permitted uses really make sense.
My name is Brooke Purvis. I live at 4114 South Captain Street, and my husband and I have lived out there for 13 years. We've always wanted a gas station out there, but we do understand the concerns, the health concerns, the risks. What we want done most is a rezoning, so something can go in out there that's viable for the whole community. We do understand too, it's a really good piece of property for a gas station. It makes a lot of sense just because of the proximity to the sand dunes, the south, everything coming in from the rock quarry to the marina. So we always thought it was going to be a gas station, but we do understand if the community doesn't want it to be. But what we do want is something to be done, because we have wanted something out there to take care of the ground, to make it look beautiful, and I think anything is going to bring up the home's value. Even a gas station, anything convenience, anything looks better than a weed patch. Thanks.
Hello, I'm TJ Musback. I live on 83 East Turnbuckle. I'm in favor of the gas station without getting into repetitive reasons. Number one for me would just be I've lived in Saratoga Springs since 2006, out on the east side of Harbor actually. But it used to take 7 minutes to get into town when I first moved out there if you were speeding just a little bit. But now it's about 17 minutes into town, and so I think from my perspective, time is the one thing that none of us ever get back, so I would like one there. It'd make it better.
Council, Mayor, my name is Chris Ensign. I represent the seller of the land.
The land was taken back by default, and so you can understand our interest to understand what's going to take place here tonight. The gas station concept is inevitable. It's just part of the fabric of our lives. Whether or not this location here, there's expansion heading that way. I want to point out to everyone in attendance tonight, this is a UDOT road. That is a major transportation corridor catering towards transportation and those needs. This expansion is going to keep going south, as you guys know, and I think there's always an appeal of ethos and there's always an appeal of logos. But I think we've got to think strategically about what's going to take place down there. We've been stuck with this land for a period of time, and we're not in the business of land banking. We're going to move this land as quickly as we can. And whatever that may be, something's coming. I think the decision was made a long time ago when the marina was put in. It's on a UDOT road, it's next to the marina. It lines up naturally for a gas station. I do certainly hear the health concerns tonight, although I think a case could be made that there's not as much health concern. I happen to live right next to a gas station, not directly, but very close. And I live in Mill Creek, and it's part of our lives. It's actually, funny enough, turns out to be part of the community. You see people there. I stop on the way out happily to a holiday gas station by circumstance with my scouts before every camp out, and we love it. I also remember stopping growing up and going to my gas station close by for drinks. As I look at this scenario, I do hear the health component, and it's compelling. I just don't know the validity fully. I know there's over 2,500 gas stations in the state right now, many of those next to homes. I know for certain it doesn't lower property values. I can equally produce information that demonstrates the opposite direction or even more. But I don't really, again, know if that's the point tonight. I think we've got to think strategically about what's going to happen out there. As I've heard a lot of people that maybe are more in the middle, they speak more about what is going to happen. And I know everyone wants a doctor's office and a salon there, but it's not happening. There's not the population base that's there. It is a transportation corridor. When everyone moved in on a UDOT road, they accepted that. They govern that. I deal with UDOT all the time, just trying to get access, curb cuts, whatever it is. I've seen their plan. I know their expansion plan. It's coming this direction. I just want, from the seller's perspective, we think Mike Wagstaff runs a terrific operation. As I said, I live next door to one. I think he's a better option than most. And no one wants to see empty units or empty storefronts. It's not what we're looking for either. We've got to accomplish something strategic. So I'm asking the council and all those in attendance to strategically think, how can we accomplish the best proper use of this land? And I think with the marina and UDOT, it lines up for a gas station. Thank you.
So the city has already thought strategically about this. They have placed a regional commercial zone about a mile away from this lot. That decision was strategically made for a good reason. A gas station there would not be backing onto residential properties. It'd be backing onto, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, I don't have all of the plans, but that a gas station there would be backing onto parks and other businesses. It wouldn't be anywhere that close to residences. So in my mind, I'm not directly affected by this location. I'm about a quarter mile away, but to me it just makes no sense. If it's not broke, don't fix it. You don't need to change the zoning to accommodate this business. I think they're a business. They're there to make money. That's good. That's what our economy is about. They want this lot because it'd be cheaper for them, engineering-wise, to put a gas station there than it would be to where it's supposed to go, where the city's already decided to put it. I don't think our neighbourhoods should have to bear
the cost of saving that business some money. So I would ask you to vote no. Thank you. Sorry, Nathan Archibald, 228 Skipper Lane, Saratoga Springs. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor and Councilman, for listening to all of this. It's a long night for you. I kind of apologize. This is a big issue, but I'm grateful for your listening ear. I am Karis Chessman. I live at 47 East Beacon Drive, directly one of the houses that is behind the gas station. I actually just moved in 7 months ago. And, well, yes, that is a UDOT road. I agree, that is. But you know what? I looked at the plans. It was not zoned for a gas station. I would not have bought my house. I absolutely would not have bought my house if I had known that that was a possibility for there to be a gas station there. And yeah, they're saying it's not going to affect the home value. Well, it's going to affect the appeal, because I wouldn't have bought my house. Most people would look at that and they would be like, no way, I don't want a gas station in my backyard. And it's hard enough to get people to live that far out, but you move out there because it's beautiful, it's peaceful, it's quiet. I used to live in Lehigh. I loved Lehigh until it got too busy, it got too crowded. That's why we relocated to Saratoga Springs. We wanted the peace, we wanted the calm, we wanted the nature. A gas station is going to take that away. Also, I do want to kind of point out that in this section right here, on here, there is a bus stop that's directly on the corner. So you will have to deal with, if you do rezone this to a gas station lot, you are going to have to rezone bus zones and things like that, because there are a lot of bus stops on Harbor Bay. And if this is a gas station, you're probably going to have to see what you can do for the safety of kids. They walk, right now, we trust our neighbors, we trust the people around us. We're okay with our kids playing in the backyard, running around with their friends, but I'm sorry if you put a gas station in, my trust of Saratoga Springs safety goes down a lot. It declines. I feel like my kids can't be safe. The traffic that's going to be brought in right into my neighborhood, these people I don't even know that are going to fill up gas, that are going to see my house, think, oh wow, that is a big, beautiful house. I want to case that house. I want to go rob them. That wasn't a problem when I moved out there. That's a new problem that I don't like to think about my future in that area. So please, please, please vote no against the rezoning to make this regional, but please highly consider putting a park there. The marina that's just down from there, there was a plan for a park. I'm just pointing out, you can look at the plans, there was a plan, and all of a sudden we're getting a water irrigation, cement, not a park. It's really heartbreaking for us, and it would be the most effective thing to put there. The amount of kids that we have that can go and play there, it would be the best way to use that property. So thank you, and please vote no on the regional's rezoning.
I'm Carson Cullimore. I live at 213 Columbine Circle. I'm in favor of the gas station. I moved out here 5 years ago.
Sorry.
Okay. I moved out here 5 years ago in the hopes that we would get more conveniences and amenities in the southern end of the city. I'd love to have a gas station nearby that I could take my kids to get snacks and treats. Thanks.
To kind of move this along, because we're getting a lot of repetitive comments. I know you've been waiting to go, so I'll let you go. Can we get maybe a count for the record of how many people are here for, and then how many people are here against?
Mark, will you check the other rooms?
Check both rooms, and there's no one getting up here waiting.
Okay.
We have the people who wrote things down, but just who's
So I guess we'll start with those who are for it. Just stand up. Getting 15. Okay, and those who are against it?
We can't see, you're too big, tall guys.
It's 425.
You were standing for both.
Yes.
This isn't like we're not
Scientific.
scientific. Just get a sense.
Okay. 25. Okay. What was that? 25.
And Mayor.
You've been waiting, do you want to?
So my name is Erica Fisher, and I live at 93 Turnbuckle.
And I'm against just because of all the safety concerns. I was young once, I walked to the gas station. It's a fun thing to do, but I agree with all of the safety concerns with bringing. It's weird when you move to a neighborhood where you know all your neighbors, and then even building, with all the building going on, and even going down to the marina, which I love, it's weird to have strangers that you don't know. And this will bring a lot more strangers, which it's just a weird feeling. And I love the neighborhood and I love my neighbors, but it's weird that you don't know everybody there. And that's what that brings. It brings all the traffic, which again is getting horrible, which is no fault of anybody's but just building. But I moved out because of the quietness too. And, you know, maybe safety concern for the leak, for the barrels in the ground not leaking maybe the first 5 years, but in 25 years. And so you got to think down the line. It's just not safe all the way around. And yeah, everybody has protocol, but we all know that protocol is guidelines instead of actual things. So anyways, I'm opposed.
My name is Stacy Johnson, and I live at 52 Beacon Drive, and I am for the gas station. One of my main points of reasons why I'm for the gas station, someone else mentioned, was because the developer, he is willing to work with us. I lived in Bluffdale my entire life. Not to make a life story, but my dad was mayor, and he worked with developers all the time. And he says, those are the best people to work with, is the developers, because he is willing to work with us on what he builds around the gas station for us, not for anything else. If we don't have him come in, we don't have a say on who else comes and develops there, because they can do whatever they want to, because they won't care about our word and what we say. And that's all I want to say, and thanks.
Okay, any more comments? Okay, seeing that, I will close the public hearing. Mike, you ask for an opportunity maybe to have a little bit to say before the council starts their deliberation. Okay, if you want to sit at the table, the council may have questions for you afterwards.
So from my perspective, everything I hear, I've met with the HOA. From our perspective, I know, these dichotomous thinking, right, it's all or nothing. Obviously, we would like to come up with some type of compromise. We'd love to see it zoned regional commercial so that we'd be able to build a gas station there and then impose the conditions that would allow for, as much as we can, a positive outcome. I have great empathy for those who live directly around the station. We have many locations that have homes directly behind the gas station or to the side of the station. We have a track record of working with all of our neighbors, all the residents that live in those areas, and of trying to be a good neighbor. That's what we do. That's how we have accomplished what we have. So I could go through all the different lists. I do have one that I guess sticks out to me. Many people have said, go a mile north. I have dealt with Doug Toller, the group to the north. You're going to have residents right behind that piece of property too, the way they have it laid out. So to me, it really comes down to, it's going to be affected one way or another by residents and where their homes are. For us, we love this location because of the marina, because of the access. Again, it was stated the safety. I cannot control what happens on Redwood Road and what happens and how the city and the state deal
deals with those concerns, but I do hear those concerns, and we would do everything. Obviously, the city would require the trail systems and sidewalks and doing everything we can from a safety perspective. We want to be a good neighbor. We want to be a community center, is what we've found over the years, is that people that work at the stations, they are the community. The people that come in, it is the community, that we end up being a hub for the community, and that's what we'd like to accomplish here.
Okay, Councilman Porter?
I appreciate your comments, Mr. Wagstaff, about the wanting to work with the community to try and make this something that they could accept. However, I look at the Planning Commission gave a negative recommendation. That's a no. A unanimous negative recommendation. For me to overrule that, there would have to be some overwhelming reason. I haven't heard that overwhelming reason tonight. And so I'm afraid that I'm a no.
Councilwoman Barch?
Thank you very much. First of all, I'd just like to say to the developer that sometimes we have to say that a parcel is just too green to develop. We don't necessarily need to change the zone just to make something happen right away. Also, regardless of what happens tonight, I'd like staff to please address the neighbors' concerns about the weed maintenance, the weed control in that area. That is one of our codes that we need to work on, so we need to take care of that. As far as this particular item, I appreciate that you tried to adjust the site plan so that we could not have the car wash, not have the noise factors and those kinds of things that perhaps the residents were somewhat upset with. However, it's more than just that, and I think that there are bigger concerns. Regardless, I think we have concerns with the site plan as far as circulation. I believe it's not been looked at. If you've got boats and trailers and everything coming in a really recreational area, I don't think that this site is actually large enough for that. Not to mention you have no parking for any of those kinds of uses. So although your whole goal is to help service the marina, in reality, this isn't set up for that. I think that the residents have some pretty valid concerns. I have to look up on the Department of Urban Housing, and indeed what one of the residents said about not being able to get FHA insurance is indeed true, and I find that interesting. I had no idea about that within the 300 feet, so that actually is true. This is one of the areas where we have a lot of latitude as council to make a zoning change, and we've heard loud and clear from, I would say, the majority of the residents that they don't indeed want this kind of use in this particular area. So I do understand the need of additional services further out. However, again, I think I go back to the fact that it's just too green, and while yes, neighborhood commercial may not be viable right now, it will be eventually, and I think that that's a better use for this area. So for me, I'm a no.
Councilman Podeska?
I'd first like to make a public disclosure that I live down in the southern part of Saratoga Springs, within a half mile of the Harbor Bay land that we're talking about. And so I'm neighbors to some of these people. I appreciate the comments that were made tonight. It helps the council to have the information that you've spent so much time acquiring. But as an overview, several years ago, there was an attempt to rezone the corner of Grandview and Redwood Road. And we ran across the same problem, that there was residents already in the area, and then to to intrude into that residential area with the gas station just didn't seem reasonable. And so we changed our neighborhood commercial designation so that it no longer included gas stations, convenience stores, so that this dilemma wouldn't continue to occur as the city grew. That in order to have a gas station, we would require regional commercial. Along Redwood Road, we now have a Maverick gas station coming in at Pony Express and Redwood Road with no residents in the immediate vicinity. There's another section near 4th South that is regional commercial. And then Ring Road, which will have a signal light, and has been regional commercial since the beginning. We'll have another gas station. And then between Wildlife Boulevard and Village Parkway, we've just been renegotiating the location of the regional commercial there, again with no residents yet. And the yet is that if the gas station's already there, then anyone who wants to come in and develop or build houses there, they know that situation already exists. For our intent with modifying the neighborhood commercial is that all the residents that were in that area did not agree to this, did not have a say that someday there's going to be a gas station there, or a bar, or whatever. And so by removing that, it protected the community, and the welfare of the community is our primary concern. And so with the Ring Road and Fox Hollow potential gas stations, the convenience for the southern part of Saratoga Springs, I think, is being well addressed. And therefore, the addition of a third or more gas station, and I agree that it is a transportation corridor, but we're looking at the conveniences of the residents and not necessarily those who are driving through. And so my decision would also be a no.
Okay, Councilman McComber?
I mean, obviously, there's 3 no's. That's the majority, but I still want to make sure that my concerns and my comments are on the record as well. So for me, I think that, there were really good arguments on both sides, and I appreciate the civility in the room today. I know that maybe there was some concerns on social media. That's one reason I don't love social media, because it's sometimes not face-to-face, and we can say things that we can sometimes regret. And I do hope that the neighborhood can heal. But at the same time, I appreciate tonight the civility in the room, because these types of issues can often escalate. And so I just really am impressed with that. So for me, some of the real concerns, I mean, I have been on the council for a while, and one of the reasons is to protect things like this from happening. We purposely have a zoning map and a land use map, and all of these things are there. And I did hear, so just, some of your arguments were really good, some were a little emotional. I'm just teasing you a little bit, but it's always good to be on the really factual arguments. That's the stuff that's really going to hit home, and I appreciate the research that was done. But some of the things that, I've heard over the years with other things, when there's factual information around a zone change especially, it's the most powerful. I think that ultimately what it comes down to is safety. So the arguments around the children in the area, especially the bus stops, things like that. I think probably the one that really hit me, probably one of the hardest, was the thought of kids crossing Redwood Road from the west side. That really did resonate with me, again, from a safety perspective. I would like to ask the police chief not to go down there and try and trap you guys. I'm not going to say that, though you guys admitted to speeding like 4 of you did. But I would like to look into moving the 45 back to maybe Toguayo, maybe a little bit before Harbor. So, because some of the things is it changes pretty drastically right there. So give a little bit more of a cushion, a couple signs. Maybe we can talk to UDOT about extra signage. Sometimes when you come out of those rural areas, it is important to maybe have extra signage, a little bit sometimes bigger. They have bigger speed signs, and so I do feel bad. I mean, I have witnessed that before as I've driven down there, and so I think that would be great. And I really do want to echo Councilwoman Barch's argument about the weeds. I appreciated that. I live next to a very large landowner who doesn't always keep their weeds. I live next to the golf course, so. The golf course is really nice, but then they're out of bounds as they just let it go. So, what we do have is we have ordinances in the city, and so I would just ask that if the weeds are ever getting that bad, I think the comments over here, please just call the city, and then they will go and check. We have, I think it's 2 feet, correct?
I would suggest downloading the city's app and reporting any of those issues. It's available at the app stores. Look for City of Saratoga Springs.
Yeah, City of Saratoga Springs has an app where you can just pinpoint where there's a issue, and then they'll come and check it, and then you can actually track and see the progress when someone comes, what happens from that, the follow-up. It's quite nice. And so I think that would be really helpful, and I think it's 2 feet, the weeds, and tumbleweeds obviously get bigger than that. And the landowner is responsible and would be fined accordingly if we have different rules in our ordinances. So that is definitely a concern. That is probably the current biggest safety concern in the area, is those weeds, if a spark or something could catch on fire. So that's a big concern there. For me, I also, I apologize if I'm looking a little tired, or maybe if I stood without a smile. I started at 2:30 in the morning our time, coming back from Canada. I was at a funeral, and so I've been traveling. I traveled a lot today, and so I apologize for being a little bit late. But I did actually drive down, because I wanted to drive down before I came in, and I noticed that the houses are lower, so light pollution would definitely be very hard to mitigate when you're below the lighting. Also, I am not as worried about the tanks. I did do a little bit of research. The new tanks are so much better, but they're not proven for 40 years, so it's still unknown science. My concern is, and I'm just as guilty of this, pulling the nozzle out of and then the gasoline. I get, a good cup or two sometimes that'll go onto the cement. And if everyone's doing that on a regular basis, all of that gasoline's getting on the cement, and then a rain comes. I'm concerned about because they are downhill. So the fuel and the water running down. So definitely a safety concern. From a health perspective, I really do want to let you know that I want you to know that I heard you from the health concerns for the children especially, and even the adults who have various health concerns. I think that I would like to see just some research from the city on the city's part, as we do have other gas stations that are looking to come. If we can, I would appreciate the research you've already done. It's always nice if you can share. So if we could get that to Kimber. The research, that would help us, as well as we go forward with other situations like other gas stations coming in. I would like to have that information available. And then I do appreciate the comments from my fellow councilman, especially Podesta, when he talked about the regional commercial that isn't too far away. We purposely chose those locations for regional commercial, and I appreciated the comment also from, I think it was one of the ladies who said she checked before she bought her house or built her house. And I always tell people to check before they build or buy a house. And so I am very hesitant to change zoning, as my peers know, because of that exact reason. And because it's sort of like, changing the game halfway through, changing the rules. And so I appreciate, and I would encourage you to always tell your friends to check zoning before they move into an area. So those are some of the arguments that really played on my decision to vote no today. And then my last one is when Toguayo comes in, there's going to be a lot of really great locations for gas stations in a virgin area that doesn't have homes already. That's all. Thank you.
Councilman Wilden?
Thank you. I'd like to apologize on behalf of the council for Bud Podesta's excessive speeding to get home after council meetings. So when it gets late, he wants to get home quick.
He's out.
So I do want to thank everyone for coming. This is one of the parts I enjoy being on the city council is meeting residents and hearing both sides and being civil. And I felt a little bad being the time reporter. I don't want to do that again. I felt like the bad guy in the room.
Michael had to last time.
Oh, did you? Mine was louder though. I stuck it right there. But this came up, was it a year and a half ago in a work session? I think it was, and I expressed some opinions back then that quite honestly haven't changed too much. We do want business in the city, but not in this location. I don't think it's the right place. I think people out south, and many want a convenience store, a gas station like this. I just don't think that they want to walk down one house to get there, or in the case of one of the residents, get their kids just to jump on the trampoline high enough to get over the fence. And I don't mean to be facetious, I'm just using that as an example, proximity. It really is just too close. If you were going into an undeveloped property that was no homes around it and it was zoned for R3 even, I wouldn't have a problem, because then when people come in and buy that, they know what's there or what's going to be consumed. Yeah, but they haven't bought that property. And for me, whenever I make a decision, and that's what I've done for the last 3.5 years I've been in council, my number one priority is always the existing residents. And whatever decision I make has to be impacting them. Future residents come second. And there's certainly a convenience factor on this, and I recognize that. But safety will always outweigh any convenience. And existing homeowner rights will always outweigh convenience and future. And when you buy a home next to something that's zoned a certain way, you get rights knowing that that's going to be next to you. And then me changing the zone then takes that property and infringes upon their existing property. And to me, that's an infringement on their property rights, because now it's infringing on them. It'd be different if it was already zoned that way. But I do appreciate, the developer, you coming in and I think you made a genuine attempt to get this to work. And I think that was recognized. And I do appreciate it, and I think you made your best attempt. But I just don't think this is going to work. And the comments to some others, we want to rezone. Well, I can't, in good conscience, rezone this unless we have a good concept of something. I don't know neighborhood or opportunity. But it would need to have some type of concept, and it can't be this, because this is not what the property is zoned for. And just reiterate the weed control. Please send that to the city and take care of enforcing the ordinances that already exist appropriately. And the last thing I want to say is, if I could go back in time when they were doing Harvest Hills, there's some businesses, and Councilwoman Barge can speak to this, there's some businesses that are not allowed in neighborhood commercial. It's an old tire store, that it's an eyesore, and it's terrible for the neighborhood. It's shut down, and it's a little bit better now. If I could go back in time, I would have never been there. And so I think if I were in the shoes anywhere in the city, how would I feel about it? And convenience is great, but safety outweighs it, and I can't in good conscience impact these homeowners for convenience of some others. But I do understand convenience, and we're doing what we can with the developer and other developers to make things more convenient for you down the road.
Okay. Mark, that was a good plug on the app. That was smooth.
Thanks. Again, you can pick that up at any local app store. I did want to point out that I've already submitted a work order through Chief Burton on that particular issue.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. And just really quick, the civility in the room tonight, thank you. It's a large group and almost a 2-hour public hearing.
You should have saw when the bees were here, when they're trying to
Yes.
get bees. It was much more intense.
So, just wanted to point out, to Mike, his efforts. We've worked with a lot of developers, Michael and I and Bud, over the last 7 years. Your willingness to reach out and talk to residents, meet with residents, really is above and beyond what we normally see. And that's something you should be commended for as a businessman, is going above and beyond. And to the residents, for taking the time to go meet and learn and understand what it was, and to talk with Mike, city staff, and for attending tonight. Thank you. Sometimes, we joke about the public for the budget, and usually we have one person who's here, and that's for a Scout merit badge. So.
I thought you was going to say it was me. I go say it.
So I appreciate everybody tonight, and I will entertain a motion.
I move that we deny the application for the Holiday Oil Rezone General Plan Amendment, Mike Wagstaff applicant, 3990 South Redwood Road, Ordinance 17-11, dated today.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a first from Councilman Podeska, second from Councilman Wilden. Sorry, Councilman McComber, second from Councilman Wilden. Any further discussion on the motion?
Yes, please. Could that also include the findings in the staff report?
Including the staff findings.
Under option 2. Thank you.
Okay, I have amended first.
Yep, second.
And then amended second. Any further discussion? We'll do a roll call. Councilman Porter? Aye. Wilden?
Aye.
Comber?
Aye.
Podeska?
Aye.
Barch?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mike.
That was a yes, and aye.
We heard you. Thank you.
Yes means no.
There's been a request for a 5-minute break. We'll convene at about 9:05, 9:06, somewhere